Hey guys, Nick here. With the Thanksgiving holiday this week, scheduling was a bit odd, so we wanted to make sure we got something out there on your feeds for you to enjoy. So we did something a little bit different this week. We recorded two separate segments over the past week, and I've Frankensteined them together. In this first segment you're about to hear, I'm joined by Crispy, Chris Davis, and community guest Jaeger to talk about his time playing the Elden Ring network test. We talk about what the test included, what it said about the game as a whole, and what our expectations are now in the final months leading up to the release. In the second segment, after the break, I'm joined by Crispy, Chris Davis, and community guest The Drunken Merchant to talk about our time playing the Halo Infinite multiplayer beta. So I hope you find something of interest in one or both of these segments. We'll get back to our usual recording schedule next week. In the meantime, enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday for those of you who celebrate it, and we hope you'll join us in Discord in the meantime at discord.gg/4Player. But enough about that, let's jump into the first segment now. Cool. Well, in that case, hello everybody. I'm not going to do a whole, the rigmarole. I'm going to record a separate intro for this. I just want to say welcome to our guests here. We got Crispy. Hello, Crispy.
Hey, what's up?
We got Chris Davis.
That's me.
And we're joined today by our over the pond correspondent, Jaeger. Hello, Jaeger.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going well. We're recording this at like 3:30 in the afternoon on a Sunday for multiple reasons. One, like I said, Jaeger is across the pond, and it's much later for him. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being here to talk about Elden Ring and also making time to be on the show, because obviously our timelines don't really match up very well. We are here to talk about the Elden Ring network test, which Jaeger is in. None of us have played it yet.
Couldn't get in.
I didn't even try. Didn't even want to get in.
Did people have to try?
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea how any of this works. So aside from us talking about the logistics of Elden Ring, I have a few dumb questions. Like, did people have to request to get in, or were people just lucky enough to receive an invitation?
There was a website you had to go to and submit an application for.
Okay. I made no attempts whatsoever.
Yeah, you could choose like which platform you was on, and I think there was rumors going around saying it was 50,000 spots total. Ooh, I don't know how true that is. I think it was in like the small print of the website.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought about it because I didn't really. People were talking about it and everything, and I was like, do I even want to be a part of this if I have the opportunity? And I've kind of like seen so much, or I haven't seen more than most people or anything, but I'm already like, I'm so kind of sold in this game already. I don't feel like I needed to like go spend 20 hours exploring the world and then have to come back later. And I don't know how that's going to work. You're going to have to come back and do the whole thing over again later, even though you've already spent.
Yeah. Nick, they've done this for like every Souls game that came. Well, I don't know.
Well, I guess that is just a part of the Souls fan hype fervor, whatever you want to call it, that I've just never been a part of. I mean, I understand the appeal because I'm super excited for it myself. I think I'm kind of on media blackout. But
I think it started with Dark Souls 2.
I
think it started with Dark Souls 2, the network tests.
Yeah, probably about right. Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure.
Was it just as big a deal back then as well?
Yeah,
kind of.
Probably more so now than back then, but yeah.
Yeah.
Basically because of what Elden Ring is, and like, it's kind of mysterious.
Let's start there, because this is a very mysterious game. If you're watching us live, we're rolling footage that this is we're rolling the footage, like the 20-minute demo that From Software released a couple weeks ago and whatnot. But let's start there. I have two questions to kind of start this off. What exactly is the purpose of a network test for people who aren't aware? And two, now that you've played a significant chunk of the game, what is Elden Ring?
Okay, I'll start off with what Elden Ring is. Elden Ring is it's a Souls game through and through, but it's a Souls game set in a more open-ended environment, like completely open world. Like, you're not really locked off from different areas like you were in like previous Souls games. And
Are there any like actual like load screen? I mean, I know obviously when you load into the game, that's that, but like, are there moments where you go between areas that it loads you in?
I didn't see a single one, and I'm not even playing on PS5. I was playing on PS4 Pro.
Oh,
No loading screens.
I mean,
I think they like
my
disguise the
understanding was
loading
that
screens with.
yeah.
Oh, carry on.
I was gonna say, my understanding was that the bonfires, the not bonfires in the game, are also transportation hubs, like they are in Demon Souls. So
yeah. I mean,
that's like one of the few moments in which there would be a load screen applicable.
Yeah, but I mean that's just like any open world.
Yeah, bouncing between bonfires, like teleporting, there is a loading screen.
Yeah,
But
Gotcha.
like going through the world, like you can run through the whole world like without using a single bonfire to teleport, and you won't see a loading screen. They'll probably hide loading screens through like fog doors from like previous Souls games.
yeah.
They'll probably hide them like that. But yeah, no loading screens unless you like teleport.
Aren't the fog walls aren't they usually kind of relegated to like you walk through a fog door when you're about to go fight a boss? Because like, but in the demo that they were showing, they were coming across bosses just kind of organically.
Yeah,
out
it
in the
depends on
world,
the
right?
boss. Yeah, it depends on the boss. There's world bosses, like mini bosses, and then there's like the big bosses like previous Souls games, but have like a fog gate.
Gotcha. How many? So you've played? I know the network test was like what you like. They have like it's open for a specific amount of time, right? And then it closes off, and then you have to wait
Yeah.
before you can play it again. Over the number of times that you've played it, how much time do you think you've sunk into Elden Ring at this point?
Okay, there was 5 3-hour sessions spread throughout the weekend, and I attended all 3, all 5, so I played for 15 hours total.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
And 2 of them were at 3 o'clock in the morning for me, but I was just so happy.
Nice.
So like,
Gotta get your
the
fix,
time
man.
didn't
I
matter to me.
understand.
Yeah.
Crazy
See, that's
bastard.
the thing. Like prior to this, like the previous weekend, they did a special network test for quote influencers, and they got a full 72 hours with the game. And someone I know who got picked, they managed to sink in 52 hours just in the network test over that weekend.
Okay, so this is kind of why I asked the question of what is a
crazy.
network test, because
Network test is just basically like they'll give you access to this small part of the game to test the game servers, so make sure like player interaction works, like all the servers are stable.
Right.
Basically, it's like any multiplayer beta. It's just like that.
So people are spending 52 hours in like a relatively small area of the game.
I wouldn't say it was a small area though. That's the thing. It was what they gave us was huge. Like there was clearly parts of it that were like gated off because if it was a network test. But the area that they gave us, it was probably more generous than like previous network tests by a long mile.
That almost seems like it's like, here, play Breath of the Wild for 72 hours, but you can't leave the plateau.
Yeah, but I mean, the area that the people are playing in this is much larger than the plateau.
Just to put it into perspective, okay, there was a total of 15 bosses, 2 of which were like big bosses, and everything else was like in-world mini bosses.
Okay.
And between all that, obviously we would do PvP, like co-op, and some of us were like even like starting like different characters so we could try different builds, that sort of thing. That's where the hours come from.
This is the kind of game where like 50 hours can go by.
Oh yeah.
Pretty
you
easily.
get lost.
There's a lot of density,
And that sounds fantastic. And kind of the perspective I'm coming from, I suppose, is like if I did this, if I let myself do this, and then it ended, the moment I realized, okay, now I essentially have to do all of that over again. Is that not like a deterrent for you?
No,
I mean, it would be for me. That's why I didn't try to get into the network test. But
it's all going to depend on the game you're playing.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, you said this is a Dark Souls game through and through, so there's character build. This is not Sekiro. So theoretically speaking, you could play 52 hours of this network test and then come back and play a completely different character build and have a completely different experience. So
yeah,
that leads me to my question. My first question, I suppose, is about your time with the game. What kind of character did you get to build your character or were you kind of assigned a character?
There was
for the purposes of the build. of the network test?
Okay, we started off at like, I'm not sure what it was, pretty low level. I think we started at like level 5, but it was like the previous network test they did for Dark Souls 1 Remastered, where they had like, I think in the Dark Souls 1 Remastered they had like let you play as like Black Knight and classes that you wouldn't see in like the starting classes of the actual game.
Gotcha.
But I think you could start as Warrior, which is like just dexterity based, Enchanted Knight, which is dex with a bit of magic, Prophet, which is like the faith character, like from the previous games. I don't think it's called faith this time. No, it's called something else. I think it's incantations now. That's it.
Incantations instead of miracles.
Yeah.
So
And then you had like the champion, which is more like strength, and then the last one was like the bloody wolf, which is like I want to say it's like the Black Knight of this network test, where you start off with like some decent armor and like a claymore. I don't think that job's going to be in the Sorry, I've been playing too much Final Fantasy. It's a class, not a job.
we understand.
Yeah.
But so it sounds to me like they give you a limited selection of character builds for the test, and you'll have more options to choose from starting from scratch. So that's kind of nice.
And these characters, we did get to level them up. We like just in like the little Souls like PvP community that I'm part of, we all agreed to stop leveling at level 25 just so we could like make sure that we match up, like in like PvP and like co-op situations.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So which class did you?
I had to do. It had to start with Bloody Wolf. Just had to, just because of the armor, and obviously starting off with like a claymore is like huge to me.
Is that the one with the
cool
helmet
name.
with like the big white mane and the sword over his shoulder?
Yep. Yeah, that's the one.
It's pretty cool.
And I focused on turning it into. I just went with a dex build because honestly, because from what we've heard about this game, like leading up to this network test, it sounded like they're putting in a lot more effort into the game's multiplayer. And from someone like me who like does a lot of Souls PvP, that's massive. So I just wanted to get like a basic build set up and like just go invade people, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
And that tends to be a pretty good mix, right, of both physical and or melee and magic skills across the board, right? Or does that lean one way or the other?
Mine was purely a dex build, but I had enough faith as to where I could use a couple healing incantations just to help me through the invasion process.
Just real scummy. Yeah. Real scummy stuff.
Oh man, they've added this item right for invading. I forgot what it's called, but it basically resets your position on the map. So if you're being ganked by like 3 other players, you can just hit this item and it'll teleport you away. It's amazing.
No, that's
so you
like
map to a quick item. So
I mean, if it's 3 versus 1, I should be able to like.
Yeah, but you're invading.
Retreat. Yeah, exactly.
That's the risk you take, buddy. You're the asshole in the situation.
I'm the risk they take for summoning players to help them.
So,
oh, go ahead, Chris.
I would like to ask, since you did a lot of PvP, it sounds like. So what is the structure of a PvP encounter in Elden Ring like? Is it still the traditional Souls formula of them just kind of invading and they got to eventually find you on the map, or given that this is a open world game, is it possible for the person being invaded to escape the invader?
I think the only way they'd be able to escape you is running into a boss, because I don't think they'd let us into the boss. But that's the only way. Okay. And I think it did happen to me actually. I remember right. Someone like walked through a fog gate, and it was Dark Souls 2 where you could actually hit people as they're walking through the fog gate, and that would stop them walking through. But in Elden Ring, they just like phase through, and you like can't stop them from escaping.
Okay.
So, a PvP encounter in Elden Ring. When you invade someone, you are just in their world. You can kind of go anywhere. Like it's like, do you have to kind of like hone in on their location and like what happens if you just decide to go exploring in their world?
Because Elden Ring's like obviously a more open world game. They give you like a compass, and that compass, it'll show you on the compass like where your target is. But
Okay,
the
that's
thing
what
is,
I was
that's
driving
only
towards.
for the invader. Like, the person you've invaded had no idea where you are.
That's
And
scary. Also, what the
that's
fuck?
great.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool, but also as someone who's gonna obviously, I mean, I'm gonna be playing with PvP turned on. I'm gonna be as soon as I see that notification that says I've been invaded. That shit sounds scary.
As long as
Yeah,
there's
but I
not a
think
fucking
that's
chair
part.
boss.
No, that's part of the experience, I think. Like, but the thing that what they've done with Elden Ring is you can only be invaded if you've either summoned people or you use this little item to lure invaders into your world. There's no way of invading a host on their own unless they've used this one item, and I kind of think that's a bit of an issue because I think it will lead to most invasions being like invader versus like 3 or 4 people.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, isn't that
Yeah, good. Good.
It sounds like Crispy's been traumatized a few times
Fucking
by being
good.
invaded.
I mean, I
Die,
remember
fucking
like way
invading
back in the day.
scum.
I think I invaded. It was Nick, Crispy, and Burnsy playing Dying Light, man, and Crispy was not happy. I remember that day.
Good.
Yeah, that sounds right. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So I I'm not sure which direction we want to go. So I guess first of all, I just want to kind of get a sense for how you felt about the world and the general feel of the game. I mean, this is you said it's a Dark Souls game through and through. It looks very Dark Souls, but like,
Okay, you played Dark
maybe
Souls
what's the
3, didn't you, Nick?
I've played every Souls game, brother. I've done
Okay,
them all.
it feels like
I'm
Dark
a
Souls 3,
master.
but you have a jump and a crouch. It's Dark Souls 3, 100%.
Okay.
Dark Souls 3 with a
Well,
But
jump and
obviously,
a
they
crouch.
had to move a few buttons around because of the crouch and the jump.
Okay, so you mentioned the crouch, so I gotta ask the question. Like, what stealth gameplay like in this?
It was
Did you
alright.
do any stealth?
I did a little bit. It's just you can sneak up on like opponents and like backstab them and enemies, and it's okay, I
Is
guess.
is that Chris Davis? Is that your plan going into this? Is to do like stealth
Like,
I mean,
100%?
if you played Sekiro, it's like Sekiro.
okay, then I
Yeah.
like that. That's good. Then I'd follow up question since we mentioned Sekiro. Parrying system. How's it? Is it Soulsian again, or is it Sekiro, or somewhere in
It's
between?
it's Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
Man, so it I always find it fascinating because like I've played Dark Souls 3, but like you say Dark Souls 3 and I'm sitting here still kind of scratching my head as to like I don't remember what exactly separated Dark Souls 3 from Dark Souls 1 and 2 besides this kind of the general world structure, but we've already established that like the world structure in this is very different in and of itself because it's a huge open world.
Yeah.
So like
When I say
when you
Dark
say
Souls
Dark
3,
Souls, yeah.
when I say Dark Souls 3 in regards to like parrying, I'm thinking like timings and
Okay.
obviously like the types of ways you can parry, like the shields. Like we only had like I think it was like 4 different shields to pick from in the network test, but like there was a buckler, exact same parry as the buckler from Dark Souls 3. Then you had the wooden shield,
Okay.
exactly the same as Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
Just that's it basically.
But there's no like, you know, blocking and parrying and Sekiro to build up a break bar where you can unleash a devastating attack, things like that.
Okay, there's a system that I didn't really dive into. There's if you timed your attack perfectly, like your R1 attack,
Mhm.
like right as your opponent hit, you could do like a weird flourish attack, which is kind of like Sekiro. I don't know how to describe it.
Okay.
But aside from that, you can like charge your R2 attack as well, and if you hit an enemy with a fully charged R2 attack, that will like knock them off balance, and you'll be able to do a riposte as well.
So it sounds
Okay.
it seems to me like it's kind of like maybe 80% Dark Souls combat, Dark Souls 3 being the primary influence with like 20% of Sekiro layered on top of it.
Not the ratio I like, but you know this game is not being
I
built for
know.
me.
Okay,
Yeah.
so but it is being built for fans of Dark Souls, and back to my other question about just general world, like the world, like like the lore, the fantasy, the fucking, you know,
Yeah.
the cool like the weird, cool Soulsian lore shit. How'd you feel
I
about
think
it? I mean, it looks fucking amazing, but
I mean again, it's sorry, Chris Davis, it's a Souls game. with a little trinkling of fucking what's it called, Norse mythology, but it's definitely more like From Software Souls, but like slight influences from like Norse mythology. Like, don't go in expecting like God of War, like Norse mythology, but it's a Souls game.
No.
It's its own. It has its own identity,
Yeah, and it has the same general approach to like storytelling, I would imagine, in terms of like the way it doles out lore with, item descriptions and
Yeah, item descriptions,
just
NPCs, just encounters in the world. Yeah.
which, Chris Davis, not for you, but
Not for me.
everybody else in the world. Everybody else in the world,
That's fine.
we're cool.
I'm really hoping this turns out to be a Souls game that a lot of people enjoy. May not be for me, but that's I am a very particular person, so.
I mean, you are. I mean, yeah. I mean, Sekiro is definitely a game that seems like it was more up your alley. This doesn't necessarily seem like it's going for the same thing, but it is also at the same time a predecessor. Not predecessor. What's the word I'm looking for? I mean, it's a follow up to Sekiro from this. I mean, as far as a game from the same studio, and they just came off of making Sekiro, so there's obviously going to be influences. There's going to be little bits of things that they learned from that game coming into this.
Yeah,
that's a
good way to think of it. It's an evolution of the Souls formula, taking what they learned from Sekiro and applying it to this game, Elden Ring.
Awesome.
Okay, I want to hear about two things.
Okay.
Two things. First of all, I want to hear about mounted combat.
Ooh.
Have you done any of that?
I did. And
because,
I think it's broken.
Yeah, the reason... Okay. Oh, you think it's broken like it's overpowered?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because... That's interesting, because the reason why I wanted to ask is because one of the first reviews I listened to said that they thought the mounted combat was like almost non-functional, like they couldn't use it, like they thought it was like too difficult or something.
I don't know about that. It was it took a while to get used to. You get on your horse, you summon it with your little whistle.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it on the screen now. And you can hit L1 or L2 to like attack on your left side, like a short attack or a strong attack, and R1, R2 to attack on your right side.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And you can like go into like a chart.
Yeah.
So one of the preview videos, and this is something that we were talking about in the Discord with Brad and Green Goddamn and us were talking about specifically lances on horseback. This idea of like couching lances, and there is one of the preview videos shows the character like going into like a full trot with like their lance like leveled and attacking an enemy and like hitting them over and over and doing like tons and tons of damage. Is that something that is, in your experience, is that something that's like more specific to that weapon, or is there something to mounted combat where you can kind of like set your weapon and like do bonus damage by kind of like charging into enemies?
I think each weapon has its own little moveset when it comes to mounting combat.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that boss that you just saw, the dragon that they're fighting,
right.
That's the boss that I did on mounted combat, and it just felt really. I don't want to say it felt easy, but
it felt easy.
Yeah.
I mean, but these are also the kinds of things I would imagine they'd be gathering data on in this test and maybe tweaking prior to release. I mean, it's a network test, but it's also a beta in some ways, right?
Well,
so it's like,
or also like what part of the game is this supposed to represent? Like, is this supposed to be earlier in the game? Maybe
this is very much.
It's
the start of the game. It's the start of the game. Like it's.
If you ever theoretically, they should be the easiest bosses in the game, right?
Theoretically,
kind of.
Yeah. Not
because
not
obviously
like
because the game's more open.
Right. You can.
Yeah. They're not going to throw. They're not going to throw nothing but easy bosses at you because they've got that. If they're inviting 50,000 people, they want some Soulsian aficionados in there to test some of the deeper stuff.
Sure,
they did it with those previous tests. So,
well, I mean, what they really want to test is the network, but sure, I get what you're saying. So That kind of answers my question about mounted combat. I think it is very dependent on the weapon that you're using, and you're saying it sounds like it's overpowered. Or
Okay, I think my issues with it is there's a lot of it's very low risk for a lot of reward. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
if your horse has its own HP bar, and if your horse dies, you have to give up one of your like quote Estus flasks to like resummon your horse.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
But I feel
How
like
how
it
much
should be a
HP
lot.
does the horse have?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it was probably about the same as me. So you're probably like the same as the player.
Mm.
So the horse actually just kind of almost serves as like, here we go, Sekiro, right? Sekiro. The whole thing about Sekiro is you could die twice, right?
Yeah.
When you're on
Oh, come
horseback,
on, no,
is
don't
it
But
say
is
you
it
that.
can
now
get
is it now like Sekiro? You
You're
could
you're
essentially die die
you're
once,
getting
like it's a freebie.
that's fucking
not
stupid.
exactly because you take damage while on your horse as well.
It's
Well,
a
that's
bit
what I
of
was
a
gonna say. Are
stretch.
they directing damage between you and the horse just based purely on like hitboxes, like on location of hits, or is it
Yeah.
like, are you okay? So like, when enemies are attacking you on horseback, are they specifically trying to hit you, or are some of them like trying to take the horse out from under you, kind of thing? You know?
I mean, you come across a lot of like the soldier enemies that also have horses,
Oh,
and
gotcha.
they'll have lances as well. Crispy, you'll love
Right,
that.
right, right.
So
I
Yeah,
love
but
it. It's great. Jousting. I
wait,
can't wait.
real
Jousting,
quick,
yeah.
connected question because while we're still talking about the mounted combat, just the feeling of like summoning and exploring the world on horseback. How does that feel?
Exploring the world on horseback it's great.
I
It's
would
like
assume it's essential.
it's essential, but the thing at the same time though, they in like previous Souls games, obviously you always had a stamina bar to manage.
Mm.
But in Elden Ring, that stamina bar only shows up while you're in combat. Out of combat, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
big.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and that's kind of a weird and I think it's gonna be one of those situations where I won't really know exactly how I feel about it until I've spent some time doing it. But like, it's kind of the opposite approach to Breath of the Wild, right? Everyone's drawing
Yeah.
comparisons to Breath of the Wild, and
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is every single fucking thing you do in that game takes stamina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that could get annoying. And as, but at other
Well, I
times
mean,
it opened the door.
you could also climb like any vertical surface in that
Yeah,
game
I mean, like
too.
it also opened the door for some of these really crazy emergent moments because you have to be smart about how you use your stamina, and this seems like it's kind of removing that element, but at the same time removing some of the frustration of exploring the world when you get right down to it. When you're exploring the world, you just kind of want to be doing that. You kind of want to just be exploring and seeing what there is to see without necessarily always having to worry about managing your stamina. So it's weird. Like I feel like the approach could work really well either way. So I don't know. I don't know. But that sounds nice. I think my first reaction is it sounds nice.
Sounds great.
One more question about
No,
the
I have
mounted.
one more, Chris Davis. We did one of my two.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
We did one of my two. We
Okay,
talked
go-
about mounted combat.
I wanted to talk about mounted combat. I had one more question about mounted combat.
Oh, I thought you had. I thought you were trying to
Oh,
change the
I wasn't
subject
gonna
on me.
switch
I'm
topics.
sorry, Chris Davis. I am so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
What do you want? Okay.
I wanted to ask, so based on your thoughts about how mounted combat works, does it seem to you like the PvP strategy meta is going to be aim for the horse, take down the horse, and then just run them down?
Every time I tried to summon my horse as an invader, it wouldn't let me, so I'm not sure
Oh,
it's going
really?
to let you summon. Yeah.
Good.
Oh,
Good.
okay. Hmm.
Pretty much anything that says "fuck the invader," Crispy is like,
They
yeah.
should take your fucking weapon away from you too.
Okay. The thing is, like all previous Souls games, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, even Bloodborne, felt like the developers are really against the invaders. In Elden Ring, it feels like okay, we've kind of been mean to invaders over the past few years. And
Well, they
they're
deserve
giving
to.
us more resources, more things to use.
Spoken like a true invader.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds are still against us, but it's more like more of an even playing field. You know what I mean? Like we
Okay.
have more items to use to our advantage,
So, just so I understand this correctly, as far as invading goes, you can't yourself be invaded unless you have basically asked to be invaded, right? So you have to use this item.
If
Or if you
there's
summon
yeah,
allies.
there's an
Okay.
item you can use to lure invaders to your world, or if you've summoned people to help you.
But you
So
just
if you summon people to help, if you've summoned people to help you, you
Yeah.
are also opening the door to being invaded.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of like that. It basically means if I want to just spend 6 hours exploring the world, and not be bothered by invaders, I just have to basically not summon people to help me, and
Yeah.
I don't use that item, and I can just freely explore without the worry of being suddenly randomly invaded and being ruined. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like in
I
the middle of trying to
appreciate
do something
this.
important. I kind of like
Okay,
that.
Nick. You're
I mean,
changing the
like-
subject.
Crispy, let's get to your second question.
Okay,
What is
thank
it?
you, Nick. My second question. I want to talk about dungeons.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to talk about how cool they are, how diverse they are. My concern now. We're watching footage of a dungeon right here, and I like the look of this dungeon. It's got stuff happening in it that isn't just it's not just an underground room where you fight a mini boss or something, right? Like
Right,
there's
right,
like
right.
traps, there's like puzzles, there's stuff
Hidden
going
walls.
on, and that's what I want to see. That's what I want the dungeons to be. My touchstone for something like this would be like Sen's Fortress in the first Dark Souls.
Yeah.
I want that mix of like combat and also just like funhouse traps and shit like that. Is that representative of the dungeons you've seen in the test?
There's a few different kinds of dungeons in the test. There's one like the one that we just saw. That's more like a crypt,
Mhm.
and that
And those are
had
just
like a
kind of
ton of
scattered about, right? Those are hidden in the world, like in cave
yeah in the
entrances
world.
and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. There was one like the crypt that I just said. Just had like a ton of traps. It led to a boss and a very unique item that I thought was cool. But the
Very
way
cool.
like they led you to this crypt, it felt very natural. It was good.
Very
Would you
cool.
say
then-
that they feel handcrafted, or is this a worst case scenario?
They
of
don't
like
feel
a chalice
copy
dungeon?
pasted.
Okay, so it's not a chalice
No,
dungeon.
no, it's not a chalice dungeon. It's not like an algorithm.
No, they're all
You know?
part of the game world. They're like
Yeah.
curated
Like-
by.
Let
Yeah.
me put like a few different examples. Like there's obviously that crypt one that we just saw, and then there's ones which are more like a cave. So like I was going down this long path, and I noticed like a bunch of like it looked like something had been ransacked, like a carriage,
Mm.
and like all the destruction like led into the forest in the distance. I followed this destruction, and I noticed a few wolves about. I was like, okay, I hate wolves in Souls games, so I killed them. And then that led to a sort of cave. Went in the cave. Oh, it's like a wolf den. That was kind of cool.
That
Then
is.
I went further into the cave, found the lance that Crispy talked about. Oh, that's
Oh.
nice. Then that led to like it. It didn't even. The thing is, it didn't even look like a boss area. But like I walked in, there was a boss. It was like a deformed, like half wolf, half human thing. And
Ah.
And you know what? My first reaction to that would be like, "What the fuck is this thing?" And
Yeah.
Chris Davis, the beauty of it is you don't fucking know. You don't know. It's
Yeah.
just like, what the
Alright.
fuck?
And then, like 100 hours later, you read something about like some kind of wolf plague or something, and you're like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
wonder if that." Like, yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
this is
and
a
then-
this is a
and then your
stab at me
brain makes-
being anti-lore. Okay.
Yes.
Your brain makes the connection, and that's the mind.
and
like
you feel like it's information that you've synthesized based on your experience, which lends itself to the verisimilitude of the simulated world.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
like
the
get-
beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
Let me get back to it as well. That boss as well, like that felt very unscripted.
Mhm.
right.
But at the
right.
end, after beating that guy, he dropped a. I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was a kind of flask. Hold on.
An Estus
Okay,
flask is what they're called. Actually,
It's kind of like an Estus flask. It was called Flask of Wondrous Physique.
Wondrous
And-
physique.
flask of wondrous
It was
physique.
that was basically an Estus flask that you can customize.
What?
And throughout the network test, you'd find different. I think they were called tiers, and you could apply these up to 2 tiers. I don't know if that will expand in the full game. But you
I
expect
want to scream and run out of this room and
What?
just like celebrate. It's celebrate like in a good like a celebratory. That sounds awesome.
Okay,
I
the,
mean,
the
That was one of
tiers
the
that we
coolest.
found in the network test is one of them would obviously give you health. One would give you FP, which is like your mana. One would be like a stamina effect, and the other one was just an explosion. So you could have like an Estus flask that was, as you
you
drink it,
drink it
gives
and
you
it make you
HP.
blow up.
Yeah, and it would do damage to things around you.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Wait, so you could either
Smartest
have it
game ever
like
made.
give you stamina or like
I
yeah,
can
it
see
was
an entire
Oh,
crazy.
but
PvP
it's
build being
useful.
made around
No.
trying to draw in the enemy and then exploding.
Yes.
I thought
mean,
you just
we
meant you
did
drink it
exactly
and
that.
it kills you by blowing you up, and that's
I
all
mean,
it
okay,
does.
okay, just me theory crafting. Like I could think about like obviously this game has rings like Dark Souls games, but
I
they're
thought
called
they
Right.
replaced the
talismans.
rings with something
Yeah,
else.
yeah, they're rings, but they're just called talismans.
Oh, gotcha.
You have 2 slots. In the previous Dark Souls games, there's a ring that always shows up in every Dark Souls game called the Red Tear Stone Ring.
Mm-hmm.
And what that ring gave you an attack boost when your HP was low.
Right.
And it was very sort of meta for PvP, like so you could like make like glass cannon builds, like do you know what I'm talking about when I say glass
Yeah.
cannon? Like you have like no HP
High damage,
or
no
like high
HP.
damage, yeah. We could use this flask to like activate our rings going in instead of like finding an enemy to attack us. You know, things like that. Like the
Wait,
possibilities
say that
behind this
again.
flask are great.
You can do what?
We could use this flask to lower our HP to the point as where we activate our ring that gives us a damage boost
Oh
before
shit!
even
So
going
like,
into
like they're
fights.
synergizing.
Yeah, like that.
Oh.
Which is another thing I want to mention. Like we haven't even talked about. This game has crafting, like proper crafting. You
Oh
find a crafting
yeah.
kit, and throughout the whole world, there's like resources that respawn, which is completely new
Really?
for a Souls game.
Well,
And what kinds of things like dumb question. What kinds of things can you craft?
There's like typical Souls items like throwing
Arrows.
knives, different types of grenades that you can throw. Like I'm guessing in the full game there'll be like healing items, but like in the network test it was just like stamina items and like obviously things like items that you can enchant your weapon with. So like strike
Oh
against your
yeah,
weapon and like set it on fire, that sort of thing.
like the moss stuff they
Yeah,
had. And yeah.
yeah, just like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Sounds like a good ass video game.
It was pretty good.
So what I'm hearing, Jaeger, is that you hated this game.
No. Okay. Before the network test, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play Elden Ring. I'm excited. But like
Mhm.
after the network test, I'm like, yeah, I kind of need Elden Ring now.
You've got the
Yeah.
fervor.
you got your fix.
You
You got
got
the
the
taste.
disease.
The first taste
No,
is
see, that's-
free.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's like if you think about all the time I've put into Souls games, you think I'd be a little burnt out, and like honestly, I kind of was. But like once I jumped back in, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm back home.
Well, you took like a year or two and just played Final Fantasy 14 the whole time, and now,
Yeah.
now you're coming back to your roots.
Oh, I have a question. I don't know how much time you spent using magic, but like one of the things that I noticed in that 20-minute the footage we're watching right now is just the number of different spells and like crazy looking spells that
Yeah.
they were using. Did you get a good sense for like the variety of magic that you had access to in the game? And
There was some.
do you think you think you'll end up using magic a lot when you're playing?
See, I've seen very mixed reactions in the magic and the. I'm just gonna call it the faith spells or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The
And
incantations, but they seemed very strong from what I saw and what I used.
and that's a bad thing.
No, it's a good thing because people
okay.
actually want to use them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I
Magic's
just feel like
always kind of been a
fine
sore
line.
spot.
very good.
It's a fine line between like it's strong, so people want to use it, and it's strong, and it's now too
Yeah.
strong, so it makes the
People
game
wanna
that's supposed
nerf
to be
it.
hard less
Yeah.
less hard.
I don't think people are
Summons?
screaming for nerfs.
There were
Okay, yeah.
summons.
Yeah, you find items throughout the world that let you summon like familiars. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if they're like random drops or what, but I think you're able to buy a couple from the first merchant you find. and then like some were like just random drops, I think.
So
But
they're
that would
not.
use FP to like summon familiars to like
So they're
fight by
not.
your
They're
side.
not tied to any particular class. They're tied to items.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
and I think you need like
Uh,
a minimum amount of FP to be able to use them.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Like the ones I found,
Um,
it was like some like villagers that you could summon. You could summon 3 wolves, and then there's one of the bosses that you could summon as well.
Ooh.
How
Where's
was
it-
Ifrit?
Ifrit.
He's
What?
making a Final Fantasy joke because we're talking about summons. Get out of
Okay.
here, Chris Davis.
No, I'm the one broadcasting, so no.
That's true. That's true. Stay here, please.
Actually, I did want to ask one specific question. This is more a me question than anything else. But
Yeah,
I
that's
would
fine,
want to
Chris
know.
Davis.
So
That's
the footage we're watching and everything that's been released so far has had very clean presentations as far as UI goes. What is
Oh,
the
yeah.
UI for this game?
It's like a Souls game.
So it's
It
like
can
a
be
static
as-
HUD
Little-
with the
It doesn't have to be
Or
static. It can
the 4
like, you can
cards
set
in
it to,
the corner.
yeah, but you can change it to how you want. You can have it so it doesn't always show up on the screen. You can have it so it only shows up in combat.
Oh, thank God.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God.
I really
But
like
by
that.
default,
Like,
it was just vanishing like how it is now on the screen.
Good.
okay, so
Good.
I was kind of that was good. That's
It's
actually a
been
really
like
good
that
question because
since-
I was wondering. I was watching this footage and I was like, did they just completely scrub the UI for the sake of the footage, or what? But if you can have it dynamic like that, that's pretty dope.
I mean, yeah, there are life bars, but they only show up like everything else does.
Yeah, as needed when they're pertinent.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one final concern. You said you
Okay.
played this on the PS4 Pro, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
And how did it run? How did it look?
Do you still have a PS4 Pro? I think is what he's asking.
I have a PS4 Pro. Yeah.
I don't think
I don't
my
have a
PS4
fucking
Pro
PS5.
is. I don't think my PS4 Pro is the best to judge because if it plays anything demanding like this, it turns it into a hairdryer.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I just need to make sure I put headphones on. But like
But
performance
it
wise, I want to
was
say it. I want to say it, I don't think it dropped below 30, and it looked
Okay.
all right.
cool.
Okay.
But your
But if you-
your
tell you
your
what, if you
console
wanna-
was kind of like it was kind of
Yeah, but
like
my PS4 Pro is always like that for some fucking reason.
yeah.
I mean,
Mine
I played-
probably.
I played like
will
70
say-
hours of Ghost of Tsushima, and the whole thing, it sounded like a hairdryer or a jet engine the entire time I was doing that. I do recommend, especially for playing PS4 Pro or PS4 in general, a nice pair of over-the-ear headphones is vital at this point in the life cycle, because damn.
Yeah, I
I will say though,
imagine.
if you want like good impressions of the network test running on PlayStation 4, like the very first PlayStation 4,
Yeah.
like base
Mhm.
pace. Like there's a YouTuber called Lance McDonald. He played the whole network test on a base PS4, and he apparently had a good time.
Hmm.
He didn't.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's-
Well,
good.
Check
It's
that out.
Good.
probably gonna run just fine. It's probably gonna be like 1080p 30 on
Yeah.
a PS4 Pro and probably 1440p or even 4K 60 on a next gen system.
I wouldn't expect 4K 60. on
Yeah, I
next gen
think
system.
Yeah.
4K and like unlocked 60.
Okay.
But apparently,
Yeah.
if you buy the PS4 version and you play it on a PS5, it's 60. But if you buy the PS5 version, you'll get like 4K, but it won't be like a decent, like solid 60. But
Unless
obviously, like
you
the
get
game's gonna
lots
have like different modes, like performance mode.
Yeah. And let me
That
tell
sort
you,
of thing.
almost every game that I've played on my PS5 so far has had performance, or I'm playing Life is Strange right now, and it has a performance versus fidelity mode, and I'm playing on performance. Like I switched it to fidelity, and I was like, nope, I'm sticking with performance, and I haven't. It's still been a delightful experience every damn time, even though you're sacrificing the resolution a little bit. That frame rate certainly helps wherever you can get it.
Actually-
I have one last lingering question, just because we've looped this footage a couple times, and I keep seeing the dragon swoop in right for that boss fight. I would imagine that because you fought that dragon, right?
Yep. That's one of the big bosses, like that counts as like a big boss, you know.
But does it
Main
always
boss.
when you enter that area, or is it one of those situations where, like, I mean, obviously we're going to see it coming now because we've seen this footage,
Yeah.
but like, imagine you had never played it before. Would you have just like walked into that field and then that dragon emerges out of nowhere like that?
Yeah, you have no idea that dragon's coming. You have no idea.
Ooh, did you kind of get the idea, or were there any glimpses of anything else kind of like that? Maybe not. We don't need specifics necessarily, but did you have any other moments kind of like that where something crazy just kind of came out of nowhere and surprised you like that?
Uh, I think aside from that, actually no, that's not true. There's a few like world bosses that do kind of come out of nowhere that you think that it's just a unique enemy, but you get to it and you're like, wait, this enemy has a big HP bar.
Yeah. Okay.
I wasn't expecting that.
Cool. Because I'm this, like I said earlier, this game garners a lot of comparisons to Breath of the Wild, rightfully so, because everybody wants everything to be in some way, shape, or form like Breath of the Wild these days.
Yeah.
But I think about the moments in Breath of the Wild that really took my breath away, and a lot of those were just these like kind of out of nowhere moments. And
I mean, outside of it being like an open world game, like the one thing that strikes me as like it being perfectly comparable to Breath of the Wild is in Breath of the Wild. Remember how you start that game? You start in like a grave, like the hero's grave or whatever it's called.
right.
Then you emerge and you see the vast world, like that you're allowed to explore. You have that exact moment in Elden Ring. You wake up in a grave, you come out the grave, and all you see in the distance is this huge castle.
Nice.
You want to go there, you know?
Nice.
You can go there. And then you look to your left and there's a huge island. You're thinking, wait, how the hell do I get there?
I really liked
You
that
can actually
moment.
go there. It's great.
It's not quite as grandiose, but I really, really enjoyed that moment in Dark Souls 2 when you see Majula for the first time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so good. Love that.
Well, unless does anybody else have any last questions? Jaeger, do you have any things we haven't talked about that you wanted to make sure you mentioned?
I have 2 really quick questions.
All right, shoot.
The first one, is ranged combat any decent this time around?
Ranged combat as in like bows and arrows?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Because it's always kind of been like very circumstantial, never really like
I
properly implemented.
I never really built a character entirely around the idea of using a bow and arrow in a Souls game. It's one of those things I kind of pull out as needed.
Yeah, when it comes to like bows and arrows, and I assume the game's gonna have crossbows, I don't think you're gonna be able to make a build like based solely around that.
Yeah.
Though I might be wrong because in the
But there
network
are-
test we had a bow and we did find some unique ammo for it. Like one was.
Prince Davis wants this game to be Splinter Cell. He wants to sneak around and shoot people with guns.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
Or bows.
I'm already getting a new Splinter Cell, which I don't trust it. So I need a backup. Okay,
You gotta take it where you can get it. I feel you. I feel
It's
you.
worth mentioning. It's worth mentioning that some of the magic spells you kind of catch glimpses of in this footage, like it looks like there's magic built around kind of like magic bows and arrows, which seems really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't see a lot of people. Even if you had the option, there's probably not going to be a lot of people who are going to build entire characters around. Bows and arrows. So.
I mean, I asked the question more just like, is it an improvement over the previous Souls games as ranged combat? Because it was almost non-existent. It was more like a tool than anything else.
Yeah,
in the previous game.
I mean, I don't want to. I don't think it's non-existent. I think it depends on what kind of weapon. If you obviously just like use like a standard bow in the previous Souls games, it was more of like obviously like what you're saying, a tool. But there was things like great bows. There was like heavy crossbows that did pretty good damage. Like if you got a great bow in like Dark Souls 1 and like you used it in PvP, you could knock people on their ass. You know?
Yeah.
And that was a great tool.
I also think about it in terms of like combat is so like you always have to be on your toes in these games, and combat once you're in it is so fast paced. It seems to me like a bow and arrow may not. I mean, bow and arrow doesn't seem like it's always going to be a great option for combat.
It might be a good opening option because like I got interrupted, but obviously like the different the bows that were in the network test, you had different ammo. There was these arrows that could put enemies to sleep.
Yeah.
And I tried that out, and we could you could sneak around with that bow, put a few enemies to sleep, and then take out the enemies that weren't asleep, and then take out the enemies that were asleep. Like, that's like there's your stealth, Chris Davis.
There we go.
You could approach parts of the game like that.
Theoretically, if you had enough of those, you could do a pacifist run, couldn't you?
Oh, Chris Davis, what's your next question?
You have to kill bosses.
Well, yeah.
Depends how like what sort of like like I never really tried them on like the larger enemies, but all
I'll
like the small
pass if
soldiers
it's
and all
true.
that, like it put them out in like one hit
Okay.
This
quite
this
comfortably.
man sees seething demons from the abyss, and he's like, I could do a pacifist run.
My last question was, you mentioned an island. Can you swim?
I didn't try because I've like
you
my experience
refused
with
us,
water
Jaeger.
in Souls games is I just die.
I'm picturing Brad listening to this podcast at home, and the moment Jaeger says that, he just throws his headphones across the room.
Yeah. I
was
mean,
like,
I don't know. For all I know, you could swim in Sekiro, couldn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
there was
could
that
swim in
whole
Sekiro.
segment. There was that whole fucking
Well,
underwater segment. Yeah, I remember that.
Vincent Graves in chat says nope, no swimming.
No swimming.
Okay.
Okay, but
Mm.
that I wanted to mention that island. Like as soon as you like emerge from your grave, you look to your left, you see this island in the distance. I was thinking, there's no way they're gonna let us go there in the network test. And I did some exploring. I found a cave in the beach, and it went underground. And I emerged on the island. I won't say what's on the island for the sake of spoilers, but
Shut the
yeah,
front door.
it was cool. It was cool.
Dang.
All right. Any other last minute questions, or like I said, Jaeger, anything else that we haven't talked about or covered that you want to make sure we mention?
I don't know what else to say.
Well, that's good.
Really?
We've covered all the bases.
Pretty
it
good.
seems.
I will say, you know how every like previous Souls game has that like starter boss that you can either like avoid or
Yeah.
like face, and if you face it, you get like a bit of an award, a bit of a
Uh-huh.
reward.
Yeah.
Elden Ring has that as well, and I think it's
Okay.
very well done.
Okay.
But it's
Okay.
he's just in the world. It's great.
I like it.
Interesting.
I like it. Well, obviously, I think we're all in some shape or form here pretty excited for the release of Elden Ring, which is what, February now? It used to be January, now it's February.
Fuck you,
Yeah.
Something
buddy.
like that.
Cool. Jaeger, thank you so much for one, playing the network test, and then two, coming on here to tell us about it.
No worries.
I think we're
It's
all
fun.
here pretty excited. Of course, we'll be talking about it more when the game's actually out and we've all had our chance to have our hands on it and play the game. And of course, before I close the segment out, I'll just mention we're all in Discord. We're all talking about this shit and getting ourselves very, very excited about it. So if you are interested in asking questions or being a part of the community and talking about the stuff, discord.gg/4player is where you can do that. But I'm going to go ahead and close this out. So, Jaeger, thank you. Crispy, Chris Davis, thank you for being here as well. We'll catch you later.
Okay, bye.
See you guys.
I would like to welcome everybody joining me right now to part 2 of episode 702 of the podcast this week. We talked about Elden Ring in the first segment. The second segment, this segment right here, is dedicated to an entirely different video game called Halo Infinite. A game of which that we've been playing, some of us more than others. I know Crispy's like balls deep in this game, apparently.
Yes,
Oh,
he
I
is.
wouldn't say balls deep.
Well, you're like 20 hours in or something,
No,
right?
I'm like 17. 17 hours.
That's about 12 hours more than I am. So,
And about
you know.
5 hours more than me.
Also, this segment we're joined by the Drunken Merchant. Hello, how are you doing, sir?
Hello, I'm doing good.
How much Halo Infinite have you played?
I started playing with my buddy around like 7, so it's just been I don't
Today?
know, maybe 6. Yeah, today. So it's been like 5 straight hours of Halo.
Holy shit! Well, it's fresh
That's
on your
how
mind.
classic
That's good.
Halo kind of went back in the day, man. You just kind of didn't. You started playing it and you didn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. So we're gonna be talking about the multiplayer specifically because obviously the campaign has not dropped yet, and we've been playing for the past. Some of us here have been playing for the past couple days, off and on, and we had a good session. I don't remember what day that was, with Jeff and Chris Davis here and a few other people in the community, and had a lot of fun with it. But one thing that kind of strikes me about this game, maybe it's just kind of a starting point, and I will say this: I consider myself a fan of Halo, but not like a fan of Halo. You know what I mean? I'm
Like
not
your
like a
favorite
nerd.
Halo was Halo 4.
God damn it, Crispy.
Continuing your trend of choosing the weirdest sequels to love over anything else. Yes, you chose
Yeah.
Halo 4.
Well, I mean, we're gonna get into this.
For the 18th
This is
time,
the
yeah.
episode to do it.
I suppose you're right. I had the strongest reaction to Halo 4.
Yeah.
I suppose.
You cried. I saw it.
There were tears.
When Cortana did that thing, yeah, of course I did.
Oh my god. Yeah.
No, but here's the thing: like, I bought Halo 1. I bought an Xbox. I convinced myself I had to have an original Xbox to play Halo, and I bought myself an Xbox. Or who am I kidding? At that point, my parents probably bought me an Xbox. I don't remember how old I was. Whatever. Bought me an Xbox. Popped in Halo, and I played it for like 20 minutes and was like, no, this is not for me.
The that's crazy. But that idea of like running out and buying an Xbox, let me think about this. This was probably like 2003, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother died. And the following summer, my grandfather was just kind of like, I don't know, getting ready. So like,
Oh, no.
he just started giving away a bunch of money to all the grandkids. And he gave me like a really big check. And my parents were like, whoa, you need to put that in the bank. And I was like, hang on. And I immediately, the first thing I did was go to the mall and I bought an Xbox and I bought Halo.
And then you're like, now you can put the rest of this in the bank. I did what I needed to.
Yeah, and then the rest of it went in the bank. But that was the first, like, the second I got that check, I was like, I can finally play Halo. And I ran out, I bought Halo, and I've been in love with it ever since.
Now, I will say this. I don't know why my initial reaction to Halo was so, negative, but like over the years, it grew on me, and I've since played every Halo game, and I got fairly deep into the multiplayer, I suppose, in like Halo 2 and 3 kind of. But ever since 3, I think I've just been kind of like, I play the campaign. It's like, kind of like Call of Duty. I play the campaign, I put it down, and I wait however many years until the next one comes out. Merchant, what's your history with Halo?
I remember I was playing like more like N64 games at the time, and I think I was back a
Man of
generation.
culture, yes.
I guess, yeah. Like I didn't like the PS2 Xbox generation was one I actually like skipped over with. It was like I feel like we all kind of like miss a generation at some point growing up, and I think that was kind of
Yes,
it.
at a certain age, you kind of have to gravitate towards one or the other.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, I had a neighbor who would play Halo, and like they were like a huge squad or whatever. They get together and do matches and stuff, and I was just never interested in it. I think Nightfire was one I like gravitated more towards, even though that's a GameCube game. So I guess I didn't skip that
Wait,
generation.
Nightfire.
Yeah, 007.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, I was like, have we switched to talking about? Okay, yes, I follow you now.
Nick
sorry,
will have
don't
that
mind me.
discussion with you if you want to have it, but
I love Nightfire. That's a fantastic James Bond video game.
That was more like couch co-op, and I never jumped into the online scene until, actually not really ever, until my buddy gave me his PC a couple years ago. So yeah, I think everybody stuck around for Halo because of like the multiplayer online, and it was like new and fresh, and everyone was super into it. And I just wasn't. I was always a single player gamer, and I think I beat Halo once a couple years ago, and that was it. And then we went, me and what's up?
So you don't have like, so have you played like all the campaigns at this point, or have you just kind of like bounced around and?
Yeah,
You know what
until like last year, I think me and a couple friends we went through like every single Halo game except 5. So yeah,
Didn't use
I
much,
just
to be totally
I rampaged through like the single player / like co-op campaign, but I never like played the online multiplayer.
Fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
It's funny that we're here to talk primarily about multiplayer, which is by far the thing I am the maybe the least experienced with when it comes to Halo. But to kind of get on the topic of Halo Infinite, which is what's out now, and people I finally got their hands on. I don't. I think this. I mean, this might be the most fun I think I've had. Just like pure, genuine, just fun. Get my hands on the controller, jump in, start playing, and having fun. Like this is the most fun I think I've had playing a Halo game. And I'm still trying to maybe put my finger on what that is about it. I'm not sure if anybody has any instincts right now. I mean, now that y'all played
I would wonder whether the reasoning might be it's just been so long since you've had like this style of shooter multiplayer experience.
But it's not really, because I've like bounced in and out of like Call of Duty over the. I mean, I've never been a huge multiplayer gamer.
Yeah, but this specifically, this isn't like COD where you turn a corner, you're instantly dead.
No. Like, but I was also very aware of that going into this. Like I remember the time that I've spent. I mean, I've played a ton of Halo. I've played all the campaigns. I've played a bunch of multiplayer from the Halo 3, Halo 2, and Halo 3 era, and I still remember the way this game feels and the differences between this and something like Call of Duty or more Twitch-based shooters, that kind of thing. So I knew to an extent what I was getting myself into. Something about the way Halo Infinite feels is speaking to me more, or is just feels better when I'm controlling the character, or what. I can tell you right now, one thing right out of the gate, I've never been a huge fan of the weapons in Halo, and maybe that's blasphemy. I don't know.
Boo! Oh, fucking boo! What are you talking about, Nick?
There we go.
Pew pew alien guns.
Boo!
Yeah. I'm speaking my truth, which is that Halo weapons, especially like Covenant weapons, never been a big fan of Covenant weapons. They've just never speak them. But like, especially like tonight, right before here, we played a few matches, and they have this event going on right now called Fiesta, which is basically every time you die, you reload. They give you 2 random weapons. So not only does it add a sense of like randomness to the gameplay and makes it a lot of fun, but like it kind of forces you to get very quickly to kind of become familiar and get comfortable with all the weapons. And man, I like a lot of the weapons in Halo Infinite, and I've never been able to say that about a Halo game. When I talk about liking Halo, it's never because of the weapons, man. This is the first time I can feel like I can say that. So that's, I don't know. Apparently that's
it is a little disappointing that there is such a large assortment of UNSC weapons compared to the Covenant. The fact that there's only like maybe there's the plasma pistol, there's a needler, there's the stalker rifle, and
do we think there's weapons?
Pulse carbine. There's the
pulse carbine.
There's the fucking whatever the lightning gun thing is.
So there's 3 classes of weapons. There's the human, there's the Covenant, and then there's the Promethean weapons. And I think
Promethean weapons from Halo 4. I know that reference.
Yeah, Halo.
There were guns in Halo. There were Halo guns and there were Prometheus weapons in 4 that I really liked. And you know what? Maybe this is a weird thing to say. Like maybe that's part of the reason why I liked Halo 4 so much. I was getting so tired of like the Covenant, and they finally introduced something kind of new and fresh, and I ended up liking some of those weapons from 4. Although to be honest, like playing this multiplayer, I have a hard time distinguishing between Covenant and Promethean weapons. I pretty much just know when I'm using like, what is it? I mean, just human weapons, right? Is that what are they called in the lore, Chris Davis?
The UNSC.
The UNSC. Thank you.
Which stands for what?
The United Nations Space Command.
I knew you nerd. Although Crispy probably knew that too. Don't lie.
Dude, I used to read Halo
like 7 or 8 books.
I haven't read that many. That's fucking insane.
I used to read Halo novels. By used to, I mean last week.
I read like 4 of them. I read like the first 4 that came out, which were
those are the
varying levels of good. Yeah. Well, I mean, the one of them is the Flood, and that book is
the Flood kind of is, but
you know,
First Strike and Fall of Reach are pretty good.
Nick, your feelings are your feelings, and I don't want to
Here it comes.
impinge on you for that. No, it's fine. Like
I'm teasing.
you feel the way you feel, but I do find it weird that or maybe indicative of why Halo has always kind of been hit or miss for you is because the guns didn't really speak to you. Because I think the guns are like the best part, man. Like they're fucking cool. Like
Yeah,
the guns
they're
were
good.
always cool, and it was always really exciting picking up power weapons and every iteration. Like the thing I remember being most excited about Halo 4 also was oh, new guns, that's cool.
Mhm.
Even though I didn't actually like that game when I played it.
Halo 4's problem was that the Promethean AI just didn't have the right flow.
Well, there was a lot of problems. I mean, we don't have to get into that.
I was in it for Cortana, man. That's what
Yeah.
that's
I
that's
just
what I'm-
I viscerally I have a very visceral memory from earlier tonight, like an hour ago, maybe an hour and a half ago, playing this game with you guys, and like we were talking about how your favorite weapon was the commando rifle, and then a couple minutes later, I picked up some weird laser gun and killed somebody with it, and in my brain, I went, the fucking guns in Halo are cool. Is exactly what I said to myself, having no idea we were gonna have this conversation because Nick.
But
I-
that
like-
gun didn't exist. That gun didn't exist in the last few Halo games, or at least in early Halo games. I'll tell you what, I didn't like any of the guns in Halo 1, 2, or 3.
No,
could
but
pretty much tell you that.
I'm just saying that's crazy though. That's
It's a little crazy.
insane. You don't like the
I'm
assault
here to
rifle.
drop
You don't like
insane comments like that.
you don't
okay?
like the battle rifle. I mean, okay, no. But all I'm saying is those like.
How do
I
you
don't
not
know.
have a little love in
it's-
your heart for the Needler? The
Yeah,
weapon
there
that
are
tries
there are
hard.
so
That
many
thing.
there are so many shooter games that I play where it's kind of oh, these guns are kind of cool, but I don't get emotionally attached to them. Like playing the original Halo and picking up finding a pistol laying out in the world is the most excited I think I've ever been playing a video game. Well, I don't know. That's a crazy thing to say, but you get what I'm saying. There was these visceral reactions to these guns because they were cool from a design perspective. They were cool as sci-fi guns for, different genres of sci-fi, even the UNSC stuff being this kind of more hard military sci-fi, and then the alien guns just being whatever. What the fuck is a needler? The needler is a crazy idea and it's really cool. And from a gameplay perspective, they all felt really good. Shooting somebody with a gun in Halo has always been amazing, beautiful. That was the strongest thing.
Ooh.
That was the strongest thing that Bungie took from Halo and put into Destiny. I played hundreds of hours of Destiny and felt man, they really know how to make a gun feel cool when you pull the trigger. That is 80% of Halo, dude. I don't know.
And think about going from Halo to Destiny, just how much they changed the weapon design too. They kept those same principles, but the variety exploded.
Oh yeah, and then just seeing the kind of the sort of that's a big reason why I love Destiny, was watching the progress of that design philosophy, of that idea where they were starting to come up with weird, interesting, cool sci-fi ideas in Halo, and then by the time you get to a few years into Destiny, they've got guns that are sentient and shoot fucking black holes, or shoot little mini sunspots, or shoot like fucking what are they called, little nanobots or something, just all kinds of crazy weird shit. There's a gun that has a little portal that shoots bullets from the gun's other timelines at people. It's weird and it's fun.
Wait, that's
and that
cool.
DNA,
Destiny, right?
that is Destiny, but that DNA, that kind of design arc that led to stuff like that in Destiny is very present and is very much a part of what makes Halo, especially the first three, really good. I feel
Right.
like.
I mean, I fully acknowledge that I'm in the minority here. I don't know what else to say.
Not even
I
the
mean-
rocket launcher, Nick. Not even the spanker.
I'm with Nick. I never felt like any of the guns in Halo had a lot of impact. I think.
Oh, dude, I don't
There
know.
are a lot of
man.
PvU laser guns.
I mean, did you play the first Halo?
yeah.
Yes.
The pistol, the fucking
Oh.
pistol.
Rocked.
Okay, first
Like
of all,
popping headshots with that pistol in that first game is one of the most like tactily satisfying shooter experiences I've ever had in any game I've ever played before or since. That
All right, so-
gun is amazing, and
So-
it is not an anomaly in that game. I mean, it is a little bit.
Fair enough. We are not here to we could debate this for hours.
No, you're right. You're right. We should move on.
Out is that Merchant is with me and him in chat is with me, and that's all I need.
I'm just saying. I'm just trying to build a case that like the tactile feel of the gunplay in Halo and the design of the guns in Halo has when the games have been good been part of what is strong about them, and it's also part of what I'm really enjoying about this game.
Now I will say I will get on board with you there. Like I said, the way guns feel in this game, both just to fire and to experiment with, and just the variety of them in this game is something to be honest, I had not come to expect that from Halo, for me personally, because and maybe more specifically, I never expected to have this many guns that I enjoy shooting and playing with in Halo. Because historically speaking, I would usually gravitate towards one or two, and then I would never switch because they were the only ones that I enjoyed. This game doesn't seem to be that way at all. And then on top of that, they've layered, a lot of different vehicles, some of which are returning. Obviously, there's a few ones that I don't recognize personally, like the Wasp.
The Wasp is new.
Wasp is new, and then that thing that looks like a fucking like a hamster ball that people are rolling around, whatever the hell that is.
Oh,
the Brute Chopper? That was from Halo 3.
Okay, I don't remember that. Wait, no, the hamster ball thing?
There's no hamster ball thing.
Okay, it's not a hamster ball. It's just
There's
like
a big front wheel, small back wheel.
Yeah, maybe that's it. That sounds right.
The Brute Chopper.
It's a brute penny farthing.
I don't know what that is.
Come on, Tim.
So if this Kotaku article from yesterday is true, there's 11 new guns that were added to Halo Infinite.
So
that's crazy.
That makes sense, because
that's like as many guns were in the first Halo.
Yeah, and then on top of that, they also have classic returning weapons, which, to me, I pick up weapons that I recognize from older Halos, and I'm like, cool, they have these guns. I'm not a huge fan of them, but like, when I find a gun that I'm not a fan of, it's not hard to go find a weapon that is something that I enjoy firing.
Yeah.
And that's really refreshing. And then on top of that, you've got all kinds of different game modes that are available. Do we know? First of all, I think this beta only has 4 different maps to play.
No,
on?
it has like 7 or 8.
Really? Because I feel like I've only seen 4 so far.
Yeah, there's like
you've only been playing Big Team. With the Fiesta map that we played tonight, it was a brand new map they just added.
Yeah, that was the 4th one that I'm saying. We played Fiesta. We played the Fiesta mode
right.
twice.
But there's only like 3 big team maps. There's a bunch of other smaller maps.
Yeah, there's a like a new Mombasa streets kind of thing. There's a desert map. There's a night city kind of area. There's like 3 others on top of that. Like there's plenty of map variety so far.
Yeah, I know one thing I need to do, because, and one of the things I think I might actually get hooked. The one thing that I think is gonna maybe hook me with this multiplayer, aside from the fact that it's free to play and it's on Game Pass, so of course I'm gonna play it, is kind of the character progression. Although I do hope they speed the character progression up, because I've played at this point like 6-7 hours of Halo Infinite multiplayer, and I've only leveled up once, because they're just drip feeding me experience, which seems ridiculous. I feel like at this point I should be level 3 or 4 at least, or something.
They built their battle pass system and their leveling to be only cosmetics. And they've already said they're addressing this. Like, one of the things, the fixes they've done immediately was to set it to where you're always unlocking a 50 XP challenge after every match, no matter what. That wasn't there like a few days after it went live. And they're also addressing like the length of double XP, boosters and things like that. They're getting to it. It's just they had built their entire economy around a certain idea, and it turns out it didn't work. So they
and
they got to work on it.
Like I said, like part of what the modes we've been playing are the big team battles because we've been doing community nights and whatnot, and a lot of the opportunities to get experience boosts to kind of maybe improve your level you up are tied to like doing specific challenges, and like
Yes.
a lot of the weekly challenges that are available to me right now are like finish 3 quick play matches. So it's like if I had just jumped into a Halo and done quick play by myself, I may have gotten like an extra 500 experience that would have pushed me forward faster than just sitting there churning out big team battle plays. So I love the idea of challenges, especially as they're. I mean, this is obviously a common thing in multiplayer shooters these days, but you know, when you layer it on top of all these other things, improvements and modes and weapons and vehicles and stuff, I can see myself getting hooked on Halo in a way that I haven't been in a very long time, which is great. And this is one of those areas too where not having a ton of experience in maybe the more recent multiplayer Halo games, I don't really know what's new and what's not, but like some of the modes we've been playing seem really addictive. The one with the what are they, the power seeds you have to kind of go
The
fetch and
stockpile.
bring back?
Mhm.
Stockpile, is that a new mode or is that something that's been in previous?
That is brand new. Also, I think Total Control wasn't a proper mode before. I think it was like a domination variant, but not like its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And then I
those are
also like
two
the
new
I mean,
modes.
and then we have the capture the flag one, or the what's the one where you get the 3 points you have to take? We played that several times
Total
tonight.
Control.
Oh, that's Total Control. Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
one a lot too. I mean, everything here is speaking to me in a way that I was not expecting or anticipating.
Yeah, I
what's
don't.
what?
I feel
Oh,
like Halo has always had like this really arcadey. I don't know what you call it. I don't know. There's just something really simple about it. Whereas a game, X him in chat, I keep playing Apex with him, and my mind is just boggled. I can't aim for shit. I can't like I'm running around finding all these upgrades and stuff, and I know like all these random drops and no, you should prefer this weapon over this weapon. It's just like a whole bunch of stuff going on. But Halo,
convoluted, yeah.
you kind of just know exactly what you're getting.
But at the same time, like there is a complexity to. I mean, there's a simplicity to Halo multiplayer that's like really accessible and really easy to get into, and that's kind of always been the case. But like there are layers to this, to the multiplayer beta that we've been doing for Infinite that I really like. But like nothing seems insurmountable. Like for someone who doesn't play a lot of multiplayer shooters, nothing seems like a barrier to entry. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Despite the fact that at its core it's pretty simple, but there are rules, there are modes, there are tricks, there are communication is vital in certain modes and things like that, and there's strategy that goes into it. It's just in a lot of other games, I feel like that would have been something that kind of not turned me off, but like would have felt hard to kind of penetrate, for lack of a better.
Yeah, I just feel like there's
Thanks,
definitely
Christy.
something to it because I've been like every round I've been playing, there's like a 50-50 chance of me winning or losing, me kicking ass, me not kicking. So I just feel like there's something there for someone like me who one doesn't play a lot of FPSs and two doesn't play a lot of online multiplayer, and yet sometimes I just kick ass,
Yeah. Man,
And
and you know
also,
what?
just
Oh, go ahead.
let's be clear about this. What has launched is a beta. This is
Yeah,
not the final product, which comes out on December 8th. So it's going to grow. It's going to change over time, and this gives 343 an opportunity to fix a lot of bugs that otherwise would have been a pain in the ass on day one.
One thing that's pretty shocking to me is that one, this they shadow dropped this last week, right? I think it was last week.
Yes.
And coming off of what if it was that? I think that may have been was that E3, this past E3 where they did the reveal of Halo, and then everybody was kind of like super negative, or
No, that
I
was
don't really know
that was last year.
that was last year.
Yeah, July
Kind
of
of has
last
no
year.
meaning anymore. Yeah. time has lost all meaning. I have no idea. But like the initial like reveal of Halo Infinite, it seemed like a lot of people were very negative on it, and I think people have really come around. And this is proving to be what seems to be a very successful beta that is now going directly up against something like Battlefield, which is doing not good right now. And on top of that, while we're going through this beta, they're actively making changes from day to day. Like you can see the changes if you come back a couple days later and play it. Like they're implementing changes as we're building up to launch, which is exciting.
And they're very forthright about the changes. Unlike a lot of games out there, as far as I can tell, and starting with the Master Chief Collection, there were like updates that would pop up and tell you what's going on in the game very frequently.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that here. Like one of the first announcements is them addressing the progress and XP issue, where they outline what they're doing, what they plan to do, and when they plan to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Master Chief Collection in general was a very eye-opening experience, or like for them as a team, as like what they need to do to maintain a certain level of.
It's a really interesting idea when you think about it. Like the Master Chief Collection is a collection of all the Halo games except for the Wars and 5. So it has like 4 or 5 different engines running all those games, and then it has a unified multiplayer platform built upon it.
Did they change engines from game to game?
1 to 2, 2 to 3. Reach was a different engine. ODST used 3. So yeah, they kept changing, man.
Well, that's bonkers.
And also, if you think about it, Halo 1 and 2, they got their anniversary versions, which had an augmented version of the engine that completely changes the visual design at the press of a button. Yeah. And then combine that all within the container of the Master Chief Collection, which again has a built-in unified multiplayer suite to where you can play a playlist and play a match of Halo 2 multiplayer and then switch over to fucking Reach, just from a loading screen. It's nuts.
Hey Chris, what's your coupon code that I can download a free month of Game Pass?
That'd be my credit card number, and I'm not giving you that. They've already stolen my credit card.
Oh dear. Here's a question: what multiplayer shooter doesn't have a battle royale mode? Does this game have a battle royale mode?
Nope.
No battle royale mode, huh?
Not announced as of yet, anyway. But
wow, good for them.
I feel like they will, though. Right? At some point,
it's inevitable, right?
At some point, they're probably gonna try to gussy it up somehow, like make it some Halo thing. But I could totally see them doing that, right? They're banking on what?
They could just glue all the maps together.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some top secret room at 343 right now where they're like fucking around with that.
Halo Infinite's campaign is a big open map.
Yeah, right.
Why? I mean, what's stopping them from just taking that and dropping a bunch of people into it for a battle royale? I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know if they should.
Why that there's no campaign co-op at launch. You create this giant open world, you got to render those perspectives, so
it's a campaign co-op. Oh
at launch,
Crispy. Oh no, I feel.
Oh my god,
we just broke Crispy's heart here a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, realistically, I'm not in the position I would have been 10, 20 years ago to play campaign co-op with somebody, but that campaign co-op is. The memories of my childhood,
Yeah,
my misspent youth.
If you're not planning on playing the campaign at launch, then you'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
Me on the other hand, I've played every campaign there is solo, and I'm cool with it. So I'm gonna jump right in.
Fine.
I mean, but here's the thing: Halo Infinite is also the reason it's called Infinite, and is to imply this is going to be a long-reaching project that's going to grow
Yeah.
year after
Marketing
year.
speak.
Yeah, it's marketing speak, but instead of like saying Halo Infinite 2, they're just going to keep updating Halo Infinite. So
Actually, also the name of the UNSC capital ship in the game is called the UNSC Infinite.
if I have fucking
So...
ejector button,
Infinity.
I would push it right now.
Oh, is it? It's the Infinity, not the Infinite?
Nope, Infinity.
Oh, I fucking hate that. Okay.
Yeah, because
What?
it makes you wrong.
Uh,
Real quick, I want to kind of like cap this conversation off by talking about kind of what our expectations are maybe for that campaign. But before we do that, just what's kind of each of y'all's like highlight for the multiplayer so far? Maybe like your favorite weapon or vehicle or mode or whatever. Whoever wants to go first, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't mean to put you all. I don't mean to
the
put you all on the
Fiesta.
spot at the same time.
The Fiesta mode that came out today. We only played like a match or two of that, but that was pretty fun.
I had a great time with the Fiesta mode. I got to destroy a scorpion with a giant hammer in the Fiesta mode.
oh, that's
and
great.
that was very satisfying. And it's one of those things like I don't usually gravitate towards the melee weapons too often because I'm terrible with them. So like when it forced me to use a hammer, I was like, can I destroy this scorpion before I die? And I took a chance I wouldn't have otherwise taken because they put the thing in my hands, and that was a really cool mode. So you're right, I am enjoying that.
Yeah. Yep. You know what I'm really enjoying about the multiplayer so far is the guns. No.
Well, seriously, what is your favorite gun? I don't know what your favorite gun is. There's so many of them.
Man, I don't know what it's called, but the homing rocket gun, the one that's like basically an assault rifle, but it shoots homing rockets.
Oh, the
I
Hydra?
love that gun. The Hydra. I love that gun. That gun is amazing. So much fun. I also really like the hammer, as always. I've been obsessed with the hammer since they introduced it way back
Fuck,
when.
we haven't even talked about like the special abilities you can get, like the fucking grappling hook.
Oh,
the equipment.
armor ability, or
Yeah,
equipment,
the
or whatever they're
equipment.
calling them.
The equipment is dope. And there's people doing some crazy shit online already. Of,
The
like,
grappling
using that-
hook is really
my-
cool.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really
Oh,
I really
fuck.
thought it was gonna be super gimmicky, but it's great.
Did you see the video where the dude blows up the warthog grapples hook and he shoots across the map? He starts
No, but
sniping
that
people
sounds
along the way.
amazing.
I believe it.
No.
Oh my god, there was something as simple
to
as
find
like there was a video of someone like jumping onto the top of a I think it was a wasp, maybe it was a wasp. Like they jumped on top of somebody else's wasp, and it was a capture the flag map, and they jumped on top of their teammate's wasp. The wasp flew them across the map. He jumped onto their base, grabbed the flag, jumped back onto the wasp, and then his partner carried it back over to his base. And it was like, games don't usually let you do this kind of shit. And like that is so indicative of what I think I love about this game so far. Merchant, what about you? Like, what's kind of your standout? I mean, you kind of started playing the game for the first time tonight, but anything jump out at you?
Yeah, just it's a lot of fun. I remember a couple months ago I tried going to Call of Duty multiplayer with some friends, and I wasn't good at it. So you run in and you just instantly die. But I feel like coming back to Halo, it feels like every encounter is like a rock paper scissors rocket launcher situation. You don't know if is he gonna shoot and melee you? Is he gonna toss a couple grenades or whatever? XM in chat said, but that's kind of the fun of it. Like you can go in and approach it in any way you want. So just like because like the penalty for death isn't that much.
Yeah, there's like this
Unless-
nice flow to multiplayer in this Halo. I mean, most of them have, you can probably say the same thing for, but I've noticed that in this game too. Like I find myself not getting very frustrated when I compared to, like you said, playing something like Call of Duty, where it does feel very like skill driven, where you kind of like, if you're not very good, it's kind of hard to have fun in some situations. And I don't feel like that's necessarily the case. Like there's matches we played tonight where I got like 3 kills and I died 10 times, but every time I loaded up I was having a blast.
Yeah, but that's because we're playing in friendly matches, and you're not getting that classic Halo toxicity. Like this This was one of like this is from that old guard of shooters where like your KD was a number that represented how much you deserved to live as a human, you know? Like
Yes.
if
Yeah.
you had a low KD, you were trash, and I can't believe you're in my game ruining my fucking day. I wish you would die.
How
Yes,
dare you go
that's-
double-digit deaths, no matter whether you got like 20 or
Like-
50 kills?
Like a 310 KD? Are you fucking kidding me, Nick?
No,
Just
that
fucking
happened
go
for
uninstall
real.
now.
Gross.
But like at the same time, one of those 3 kills I got was fucking amazing. Like, you know, it's just I just love those moments. Sonji in chat says friendship is magic, and maybe, you know what? Maybe that's what it boils down to. Maybe I won't have any fun at all when I go do quick play after we finish this recording. I'm gonna go try quick play, see if I can get my challenge in for the day. Watch me just fucking hate it. It's just super toxic, and I hate it. I don't know. But okay, let's real quick, just because we don't know a ton about the campaign yet. There's some previews that have been dropping. I haven't personally read them myself yet, but there are things we know about this campaign for Halo that makes it stand apart. How do y'all feel about the fact that it's going open world to
Fucking
some
fine.
extent?
I think
Love
that's
it.
cool. I think that's great because that is kind of just like more evocative of the original Halo to me.
Mhm.
Like in the beginning, at least the first few levels were like these huge, massive like open maps where you're just like running around the ring world, going from point A to point B. I mean, it was spaces designed to utilize the vehicles, you know, because
Right.
vehicles are such a huge part of Halo gameplay. So anything that facilitates that to a certain extent is amazing.
Absolutely.
And
Like,
that game definitely does kind of choke off a little later, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like
every time I think of Halo 1, I think of, like you said, like the first couple missions, like after you crash
Yeah.
land on the
Mhm.
planet and you're out in those big green open fields.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time that just looked mind-blowingly beautiful to me.
They have said in interviews, like I was reading somewhere, they were talking in interviews about one of their main design inspirations for this game was specifically the silent cartographer.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
like the third, fourth mission from the original Halo that really kind of exemplifies that concept and is kind of just like this beloved classic Halo mission, which I think is super, super, super cool, super exciting. I can't wait to see just how like open world it gets, and the idea that they're doing like that Far Cry thing where they're adding like, you know, enemy bases and strongholds that like you can keep track of capturing and holding, you know, and then using those bases to request resources like weapons and vehicles. That is exactly the way Halo should be, you know? Remember fucking ODST? That was like an open world city map that you were moving around to get to specific mission locations. Like that was amazing. I love ODST.
Halo 4 is the one that everyone always likes to like, hey, Nick loves Halo 4, and I do love Halo 4.
I
but
do
Halo
remember you
ODS
saying, yeah.
But Halo 3 ODST is by far probably my favorite Halo experience I've ever had. I
I
have
do
such
remember you saying that.
such fond memories of like, because it's kind of like this dark, like noir-esque, like, I don't know how to describe, like, I don't know, it just has such a cool atmosphere, but it was also open world, and man, damn, I'm glad you brought up ODST. I love
Very
that
cool.
fucking game.
Very cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll have like as varied environments because ODST is very like dark blue city
Yeah.
darkness.
It's very much that one city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
like
if,
they
if they're
said-
sticking to the design prerogatives of the original Halo game, then the environmental variety they're going to present is going to have every biome you can possibly think of, and then sectors which will be very technologically advanced that are Forerunner based and fun to explore.
Yeah, man, you know what? Layered on top of all that, just now that we kind of have like now we know what kind of weapons we're gonna be using and what kind of vehicles we're gonna have access to. Like, I'm way more excited about exploring an open world Halo than I was before. So that's pretty cool. Merchant, you're trying to get something out.
Oh, will there, as soon as you step out into the open world, will there be a volcano in the distance you can go to?
I don't know, but I sure fucking hope so.
I mean,
You know what?
I have to ask the question: why would you build an artificial volcano on a ring world? But
Why would you build a
it's
ring
fucking
world?
Forerunners, man. The whole logic about the Forerunners and the precursors and all that is just it's a nightmare.
We don't know how to build an artificial ring-shaped world. Maybe you would need to have volcanoes to make the thing work.
Mhm.
See, I like the way Crispy thinks. Here's a question, maybe the last question. I don't know. Should I?
Did you replay all the Halo games?
No,
Do a
I'm
Halo
not.
Zero retrospective?
I mean, here's the thing. I have the Master Chief Collection, and like I was tempted to start doing that, but it's obviously way too late to try and do it before Halo Infinite comes out.
Is
But
it though?
I don't remember anything from Halo 5.
Go,
And I'm like,
dude, Halo
I
5 is
don't-
worth
I don't
playing
think-
through again.
I don't think much happens in Halo 5.
I kind of want to just play Halo 4 again. Because you know what? That was good. You know, Halo 4 does such a good job of setting up this like side
You know
story
what?
about Cortana that I was so emotionally invested in, and then 5 just like dropped the fucking ball.
Half of it is Spartan Locke, and that guy is the most nothing character.
Isn't that Nathan
That's
Fillion or
ever-
is that somebody else?
No, that's
No.
Buck.
Oh, Buck.
Which,
yeah.
But they added
was
Buck.
Who was
Buck
in
was
ODST?
Buck was in ODST,
Yeah.
and then he became a Spartan 4, and is in Halo 5.
I'll just watch a YouTube video.
Yeah,
I think that's what
I
I'm
was
gonna
gonna
do.
say.
Okay.
I was gonna say. There's some good recap videos out there. I watched one the other day, and I was like very happy that it caught me up on the 4 or 5 games that I'm just not gonna play because
Okay. Well, let me offer a compromise. Maybe
A compromise.
watch
Here we
the
go.
videos for the lock missions and then play through the blue team missions.
oh my god,
Because the blue
Dude,
team stuff,
Nick,
every single
It's
one of
never-
those
it's-
was a fun level.
Nick,
It's
no.
never easy with Chris Davis. He
Oh,
always has
yeah.
he always has compromises, and they
Don't
always
play
involve
his
me devoting
don't play
hours
his
of
little
time.
games.
All right, we should wrap this up, guys. Any final thoughts, Merchant? Do you have anything you want to add that we haven't had a chance to talk about as far as Halo goes?
I think just
mean-
like playing it with a bunch of people and playing it with friends is actually like got me pumped, and like the whole open world thing. I know everybody's kind of doing it now, but I don't know. I don't know if this is just like initial excitement and oh, it's new and fresh, and I don't know. I'm really excited for Halo Infinite. I wasn't gonna buy it day one at all, but
The early previews, like I said, I haven't read many of them yet, but from what I've seen so far, a lot of the early previews has been like genuinely super impressed by the approach to like doing the open world design in a Halo game, and that's when a established franchise first tries to do this, it's you never know what you're gonna get.
yeah, I mean the big thing that's going to, I guess that's what's going to determine whether I like buy it day one or not is what are you going to be upgrading your guns, getting attachments, crafting, or is it just going to be a big space where you can kind of run by camps? Is it going to be more like Tomb Raider where they're like connected areas? I don't know. I don't know. That's the stuff I want to know in particular.
And
but-
Sonji asked the important questions too. Does it have Skyrim style open world bugs? That's apparently what Sonji wants.
No.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm super excited at this point.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I wasn't putting a lot of stock in Halo, like swooping in and like being maybe one of my favorite games of the year. But
Oh
it seems
my
possible.
God,
It seems
here he
possible. It seems
goes.
possible.
Here he
Oh.
goes again. Could
I'm
this
just
be
gonna-
my game of the year?
I'm just gonna fade Crispy out at this point. It's gonna quietly fade him out. Hey, the multiplayer
Nick.
is some of the most fun I've had playing a game this year, just in general.
It
Most
is a lot of fun.
Fun.
I'm glad
All right,
you're enjoying a multiplayer experience, Nick.
I am enjoying a
Yeah,
multiplayer experience.
look at
Hey, Game
you.
Pass made it real easy to give it a try. So, Merchant, thank you so much for joining us tonight to both play and talk about Halo. Crispy, you're a bitch, and I'm just kidding. Thanks for being here, Crispy.
I love
And of
you.
course, thanks,
Yeah,
Chris
thanks for having me
Davis
on.
as well. Absolutely, guys. Anyways, I'll probably record some outro thing for this too, so we'll just cut it there. Bye, everybody.
Okay,
Later.
bye.
Do the most awkward exit you could possibly do.
We'll probably fix that later.
Yeah, maybe.